So I asked you about this before, and I'm curious if you gave it any more thought because I don't follow the foreign policy stuff more. But the more I think about it, I wonder how Trump, Trump obviously said that he would end the Ukraine war in 24 hours, and that seems like bull. But I got thinking about it, and he was on the phone with Zelensky and I believe Putin, but I know Zelensky and Musk was on the line as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it occurred to me, doesn't so much of the Ukrainian, just Ukraine in general, but the Ukrainian military in particular, rely on Starlink? And so I'm curious if Trump will somehow be able to make this happen by basically extorting the funds out of Ukraine and Starlink be part of it.
I mean, he could. There's a whole bunch of reasons why it's inappropriate that these are all mixed together. But the reality is solving the Ukrainian-Russian war like very quickly is super easy. You just have to go and say, hey, we need you to fully surrender to. We need you to surrender to Russia. That's essentially what we did with the Taliban under Trump. Donald Trump surrendered Afghanistan to the Taliban. It was a full surrender. Yeah, I mean, that's a really easy way to make peace, of course. So can he do it on day one? Yeah, of course. He doesn't even leverage. He'll just go to Ukraine and say, hey, we're not going to support you guys anymore. You need to surrender to Russia. And that's it. It's over.
Do you think there'd be any political backlash to that at all, or because that's the other? I'm also thinking about what will happen to Trump reputationally and politically, and my concern is that he's going to be able to pull off a bunch of unhinged and not suffer any sort of political consequence for it, because of course, that's the story of his political life. And so I'm curious, like if he's able to pull this off, do you think, like basically if he tells Zelensky, we're cutting you off, you either just fold, or we're cutting you off, or we're cutting Starlink off, or all the above, do you think that ending the war in such a way will accrue a political consequence, or do you think that the American people will say, that's good enough, he kept his word, we're done?
No, I don't think it'll accrue any consequence at all. I think they'll be happy to see it. And then I think that Trump, just like the Taliban, or not Trump, I'm sorry, the Putin, just like the Taliban, will be incentivized to make sure that goes as smoothly as possible. The Taliban wanted the United States to leave. They didn't want any attacks or anybody to get killed. Like they played ball as much as they could with the Americans because they didn't want to keep them there. And I think if Putin is cutting a deal with Trump, he'll probably try to withdraw from whatever parts of Ukraine they don't agree to basically turn over to Russia as peacefully and as smoothly as possible. And maybe it'll even come with some like funds attached to help them rebuild some part or whatever. But Putin is very, very invested. He should be invested, I would imagine, in playing ball with Trump as well. So then it makes Trump look good, it makes Putin look good, and then it undermines American imperialism or American or NATO or whatever, because it's like, oh, well, look, if you just like let Putin conquer places and do what he wants, like everybody wins, basically.
So are you emotionally prepared for if that happens for the next 4 years of, see, Destiny, Trump did keep his word. He did this war and Americans love him for it. Are you prepared mentally?
Yeah, of course. I'm already. Yeah, that's already, of course. It's very easy to end wars when you just fully surrender them. Yeah, of course. It's stupid, but.
How do you think he'll handle Israel? Because one of the things I asked you about a couple of weeks ago was like, because we know that that there was, I think, Benjamin Netanyahu was the first world leader to congratulate Trump after his victory, and he and I think the more right-wing members of his cabinet or of his administration preferred Trump to win the election. And so do you think that it's possible that he'll basically say, hey, listen, while Biden's a lame duck and it will be his ass on the line, just go ahead and do what you need to do, take the gloves off in Gaza. That way, when I come in, we're going to have to really wind this down. So if you want to go ham now. Like, is that too conspiratorial, or do you think that that's feasible?
If you wanted to go ham now. Wait, to who?
To Netanyahu in Gaza.
I don't know what else they have to go ham over now.
Well, again, you know far more about this than me, but I thought that one of the I kept hearing, commentary and reports about, like, Miriam Adelson is a big donor of the Trump campaign, and reportedly her condition for funds or fundraising was she wants Israel to annex the West Bank.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like, stuff like that. And again,
yeah, I don't know.
Out my ass or,
I mean, they might. I mean, they can obviously do that with more impunity because Trump's not going to pressure them, and Trump already supported them annexing the West Bank, so Israel can continue to function like that. But I mean, yeah. But I don't know what else they could do in Gaza. I feel like they've already kind of. I don't know what else they can even do there. Yeah.
There, that's true. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I'm just the last episode of Live and Learn, when Hutch and Pisco and Econoboy were kind of laying out their worst case scenario, I said, to me, an unconventional worst case scenario is that the world doesn't end, and Donald Trump manages to walk his way through this minefield on sheer dumb luck and coast on, again, the economy he's inheriting, all the infrastructure projects, and like you said, Putin's desire to play ball with Trump and all these things, and he walks out with like an Obama tier popularity, an approval rating, and then JD Vance coasts into the presidency in 2028. And like, I don't know how likely that is, because some of his cabinet picks are genuinely unhinged, suggesting that he is trying to follow through on at least some of his more ridiculous and far-fetched campaign promises. But to me, that's the other thing to worry, is this idea that Trump doesn't f everything up and we learn all the wrong lessons. Does that make sense?
Yeah, to better phrase it, because you're making it sound like you want there to be a catastrophe. What you're saying
No.
What you're saying is you just don't want Trump to do nothing, but then all of the good things that Biden did roll forward into Trump's administration, and then Trump gets credit for all of them.
Yeah,
And then the
no, I
lesson
mean,
learned
like,
is like,
obviously
we need like a crazy populist, quasi-fascist, authoritarian dictator dude to come in because he fixed everything, when in reality it was just Biden's policies that did all. That's what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that I feel like there's no good option here. I feel like, obviously, for various reasons, if he tries to deport 10 or 20 million people and slaps a 10 or 20% tariff on all U.S. imported goods, and 60% tariff on China, and all this other shit, weaponizes the DOJ, obviously that would be more viscerally terrible. But I think the quote unquote good option is also pretty bad in the long term, because it will further incentivize, in my opinion, this sort of like deranged MAGA populism. And like, the sad thing is, I'm even seeing it from people who are nominally on the left as well. Like Cenk Uygur and Ana Kasparian are tickled pink because Trump nominated, I'm blanking on her name, Chavez Demira, I think. She's a outgoing Republican congresswoman. She lost her reelection bid, and she's got a pretty good record, especially for a Republican, on labor. And she was like the Teamsters pick, like, hey, the Teamsters union, they really wanted Trump to go with this woman, and he did. And Cenk and Anna are just bending over backwards. Oh my God! What a masterful performance by Sean O'Brien of the Teamsters. He shouldn't have endorsed the Democrats. He played it well. Look at what he's getting out of this: a pro-labor labor secretary, and Trump is the one who did it. Trump is listening, and it's like, well, number one, she hasn't been confirmed yet. Number two, Republicans hate her guts because she's an outlier. She's seen as too in the pocket of unions. Number three, it might be, if she does make it to confirmation, that it's Democrats who save her, because again, she is relatively good. But it's just like, even Cenk and Anna, I mean, Anna is not that surprising, but Cenk of all people is like grading Trump on a curve. Him throwing up this woman as a labor secretary, they're ready to get out the pom-poms and cheerlead for him. And they're one of the biggest leftist networks in media. And so, I don't know, man. I just like, already off the bat, I'm thinking, man, what if he manages to just walk through this minefield and emerge unscathed, and we learn all the wrong lessons? I think that's a bad outcome too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but we'll see what happens. But you also definitely need to find a different way to phrase that, because the way that you make it sound is that you want like nuclear war to happen.
No. Sorry. Again,
I know what you're saying. You don't get bothered. I'm saying that's what it sounds like when you say that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I haven't phrased it like that in a video. I think I phrased it. I just feel like there are no good options with Trump. I think just by definition, they're all bad. He either bunches shit up spectacularly, and there's a lot of like, visceral life and death situation, both in domestically and in foreign affairs. And then even if that doesn't happen, I just wonder what the next chapter will be, because he's never going to be held account. Like, I think his sentencing just got delayed indefinitely in New York, but Alvin Bragg is asking the judge to just delay sentencing until after Trump leaves office. Do you think that would happen? Do you think a judge would be prepared to say, yep, since you were convicted, we're not going to sentence you now, you're the sitting president, but we will resume sentencing after Trump leaves office? Or do you think a judge would have
when
the
he's
stones
like
to do
80,000 years old, and it's like, no,
Right.
the public, nobody, okay, that's no.
Yeah. Oh man, it's gonna suck for the next 4 years, but
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.